I am undeterred, and I'm undaunted, and I think the challenge is there, and I can't wait to be a part of this change.
The Browns' new head coach officially took the reins today and was introduced at a press conference.
And the voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, sat down for a one-on-one conversation with Kevin Stefanski. So, Jimmy, what were your first impressions?
I was really super impressed. You know, I've sat in front of a lot of these guys through the years, and, you know, I have a pretty good, you know, feeling for what's going to work and what hasn't worked in the past. This has got a great chance of working. This was an incredibly impressive young guy who is now the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns, and he started all the way down at the bottom when he showed up on the front door of the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, he was the assistant to the head coach, running errands for the head coach. Now he's the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, and he's done it through incredibly hard work, and that's what he's going to impress upon the Cleveland Browns. There's no shortcut. It's going to take a lot of hard work. If you do it, and you do it diligently, and you do it every day, you can get there, especially if you're the quarterback of the team. He's worked with a lot of quarterbacks, and now he works with Baker Mayfield, and the challenge is to make him great.
Well, Baker and I, we need to sit down first and talk, and I need to get to know him. But bottom line is what we'll do for Baker and for every one of our players is pull this thing apart. We need to really study that tape, study last year, and then once we've kind of understood last year, we're going to put it away. We're going to put it to bed and say, here's what we're doing this year. Here's the technique. Here are the schemes as they learn a new offense. That's important. But we need to learn about last year, but almost more importantly, we also need to move forward.
Sometimes when you take on a new assignment like this, it's the cupboard's bare on a lot of teams. Not so here?
No, that's not the case at all. And there's young players that are really talented, and that's the fun part because these young players, they're only scratching the surface. We need to develop them. We need to get them even better and see where we can take these guys.
It seems as though organization and preparedness are right very high on your priority list. I would imagine that transcends when a team takes on that image. It transcends on Sundays.
I hope so, and that's really the shared vision that I talked about with Dee and Jimmy and what we want this team to look like. And ultimately, we want smart, tough football players out there, and that's what we're going to be charged with, putting a scheme together where our guys can play fast. And at the end of the day, we need to be smart enough to identify our key players and make sure that this offense or defense or the special teams is tailored to their unique skill set.
I'm going to leave you with this, okay? You talked about meeting Jim Brown. That's a wow moment. Yeah. But how about this? This is a pretty wow moment, too. You're the second youngest head coach in Cleveland Browns history. Only Paul Brown was younger. Wow.
It's pretty good. That gives me goosebumps. That's special. And, you know, it's hard for me to sit back and reflect on this because there's so much work to do. But I'll promise you I'll sit back and think about that and just think about the storied history of this place.
Now, he's really into that, okay? He's really into the history of football. He's really into the history of the Cleveland Browns. And the fact that he's now an integral part of that, I mean, it kind of blows him away. In the business of the NFL, he is what they call a grinder, okay? Works. And that's what worked for the Minnesota Vikings. And every player that he coached, they all say his incredible work ethic rubbed off on them, and that's when it started to work. So that's how it's going to have to happen here.
I understand the Twitter world already has George Clooney playing him in the movie.
There you go. All right. Draft day 2.
Lots of comments about that.
There you go.